Hey guys, today we're going to be working with something a little bit different, more of the same, I guess, is what I should be saying. Um, so I've had to reset up a little bit more of my goings on here. Um, you know, trying to keep the mic out of the way, trying to keep a light on, and I got that second camera right. And the second camera is actually aimed at my other leg. If you remember yesterday, I switched over to my right leg to give my left leg a little bit of a break since it was getting a little bit crazy with the shading. I didn't realize just it's a lot quicker to do shading and color packing and everything else, to me anyway, than it is to do good line work. But I made a huge mistake on my right leg. I actually I used regular, actually generic, like it barely sticks tape to keep a gauze pad over the ghost that I did yesterday. Since the lines were really thick, I was using that round liner for the darker shading, um, and uh, and so yeah, I used that tape, and it let go of the gauze in the middle of the night. Just wouldn't even hold on to the gauze, but it did not let go of my skin. So I have some bruising actually on that side. So we're going to give that leg a rest, and we're going to go back to the left leg where I've already done a few little experiments on tattooing. So hopefully, whenever I get the camera back angled the right way, we can zoom in there and kind of look at it and see what it is that we're doing. I've already applied the stencils. Couple episodes back, I showed how I did that using thermal transfer paper and just regular old speed stick. I've heard that other things work a little bit better than that, which is, I mean, that's great. But if you can go to the travel section and just grab a bunch of single use, like, or weekend use, little 98 cent or whatever speed stick bars, and I use those on a one-time basis for somebody that you're tattooing. You don't want to reuse it from one person to another. Then I mean, by all means, that's a lot cheaper than buying some of the other products. Now, the other products, from what I understand, they do work better, but I haven't had too much of a problem other than some smearing with the speed stick. So simply working your way from the bottom of a tattoo up, uh, that helps out quite a lot. I did put myself in kind of a challenging position today. We'll go ahead and see if we can get a closer look at that. So I put myself in kind of a challenging position today with I got this little reclining monster. He's lost a little bit of definition since I put him on. Not too big of a deal. I have my handy dandy reference material that I can actually look at and be able to see where some of the lines were that I was hoping to hit. This is my reference material for this little guy right here. And then I kind of went with a little bit of symbolism of an old school kind of subject matter of a tattoo with a tooth. So I looked into this. I like the monster. He doesn't symbolize anything. He's just chilling. If anything, he's more my cat than any other kind of thing. But yeah, the tooth, actually, there's a symbolic reference to dreams and teeth. Um, and that reference is actually a prosperity, and that's something that I want. Obviously, everybody wants to be comfortable, so that's something that it's kind of important. So we're going to go ahead and put it on there. I put a little halo on it because I don't know, personal reasons, I guess. Also, the challenge of trying to draw a halo underneath my skin. While I was looking through my needles, and well, I say needles, it's cartridges. I'm using a rotary machine. and I'm, not naming any names. I don't want to get any kind of copyright or trademark infringement or anything like that. And I'm not being paid. I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that. So, hit me up, pretty much anywhere else, and I can type it out, but I'm not going to show it. But I really like the machine that I have. And I really like the needles that they produce as well, or the cartridges that they produce. And this is one of theirs. But yeah, as I was saying, I was looking through some of my large assortment of needle, cartridges that I've ordered, and I've been using these round shaders for a couple of days now to line with, and they're fine. Honestly, I haven't had an issue of blowout. I haven't had an issue. One thing they do seem to, I mean, they're shaders, so to me they do seem to. It's a thicker line, and they seem to kind of be a little bit softer on their lines, which is, I mean, it's good, especially if you're doing like anything that's kind of a traditional, type of, American traditional tattoo. Then it works out pretty well, I think. But it's not something that I would want to do any kind of fine line work with. And I did an experiment over here. I don't know if you can see the skull too well. We'll try to zoom in on that a little bit, hopefully. And there we go. So if you look pretty close on the skull, it looks like there's some shading in the eye socket here. And what I ended up doing was actually using a very fine line to kind of pack in the harder parts here of the darkness. But then I did like a light hatching, and I really like how that looks. It almost looks etched to a certain degree. So it's something I enjoy, and that's the kind of shading that I'm going for with this tooth. Thank you, I appreciate it. Saying it looks really good, that makes me feel pretty confident, and hopefully I can do that same kind of thing down here, where it gives that almost that wood block or somewhat etching kind of look. I do want to point out real quick, I have reserved a space. If you're looking at me on screen right now, not that direction, this direction. There's a small space over there. I would love to have any type of professional or even friends that I know personally. At some point in time, just hit me up. Leave something in chat. Give me some contact information on the YouTube channel or on Instagram or anything. We'll set up a time. That's a guest spot over there, and it would be great to have input while I'm doing this verbally. Although I do appreciate it in chat as well. So we are going to go ahead and I guess start pounding away at this. So again, needle or cartridge, it is sealed and ready to rock and roll. So I'm just going to open it up. I like throwing my needle or my needles outside the cartridge pretty far. I don't like riding the tube. I don't like spraying ink everywhere, although it happens, especially whenever these needles start to get some of the lubricating or skin softening product that I like to put on the top of these, so that it helps the needle glide to me, but it also kind of clogs it up. So hopefully I'm just going to put, I don't know, use this pretty big dab on here. I'm going to keep it close by. Sometimes I like to put it on my glove so that I can get to it pretty quick. These things aren't too far apart, so hopefully it won't be that big of a deal. These stencils have been drying for a moderate amount of time. I'd say probably about 10, 15 minutes or so. And that seems to be a good enough timeline to start working with them. Again, I've lost some definition on Monster over here. He looks kind of lazy the way that he sits right now, and that's okay. He's actually it's like a baby dragon that's lying on his back. It was something that I could put on and not really have to worry too much about placement as far as orientation, right? But it also is in a tricky spot because yesterday I showed with the traditional ghost, how whenever I put it on, I was standing up, which is a good natural position for a tattoo. It's how you want people to view it most of the time. You don't really, especially like way up here on the thigh. Yeah, not too many people are going to be seeing that while you're sitting down or reclining, most likely. They might not be seeing it while you're standing up either, but it'd be rad if they did. So anyway, that's kind of the same issue that we're having with this guy. So I really will have to like pull rather hard on this and stretch that skin really well. I mean, I like to stretch the skin anyway, because it puts a little bit more surface area that the needle can go into and start, really putting that ink in there, as opposed to, like if it's kind of, if it's just sitting there and I wouldn't say flabby. I mean, maybe you would. It's not the most in shape leg ever, but like the skin it'll bounce around underneath the needle, and it leaves a little bit more of a chance that the needle will skip a little spot or not penetrate fully, or even, like you start to over compensate for that and you go deeper and then you start getting blowouts and, then, uh, you know, I mean, anybody's watching this right now is probably, they either already know this or they have zero idea. Thank you. It is sculpted. It's a beautiful leg. I appreciate that. It's nicely shaved in some area as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, uh, you know, let's just do it, right? Let's just go ahead and fire it up. Um, as always, power supply wrapped. Uh, my machine's wrapped. Thought you were gonna get some sort of name or logo there. Not today. Um, All right. Let me just get this nice and comfy here. Another thing, uh, a lot of artists, like I've said before, they like to wrap their cartridge holders with medical tape or something along those lines. It leaves for a softer, uh, less exhausting position for their hand. These are disposable and rather soft themselves. So I don't have to worry about cleaning too much. I can just unwrap one that's sterilized, see that it's sterilized by the little piece of paper inside, pop it on, pop a cartridge on. We're good to go. Um, Real quick, last night my cat was running around acting like a crazy man. He continued to do that even after the camera went off. That's just the way he is. Another segue into, if you ever go into a tattoo shop and they have pets, you're in the wrong tattoo shop. This is not something that I would do to other people not being licensed. It's not something that I would do in my own house with other people. Yeah. So here we go. All right. My needle throw out is way far. That's actually farther than what I like it. So while this is still going, I will adjust that. Now, I did find this round liner that was hiding. While I have this one round liner until my shipment gets here for other cartridges, uh, that's why I'm going to go ahead and decide to do two of these things. Excuse me while I grab some magic paper towels. Um, these help me in a couple of ways. Helps me with ink spatters on my skin, and it also helps me whenever I feed the ink in to the cartridge itself. All right, so we're going to start with the tooth rather than the halo here. Want to make sure I got that ink in there. I don't want to be like drawing some bloody lines. All right, so uh, this is a rather small liner.
It's a size 12 needle, which is standard. A lot of people say 10s are standard. A lot of people say 12s are standard. I say I'm new at this, so pretty much anything that I grab is standard. But yeah, it's a 12 size needle, but it's a 5 grouping of those needles. So what I'm doing here is actually tracing out where I have a hard shade, because I do actually incorporate a little bit of a cartoony shade in there. It's it's just something I like to do. It's my own style. It's my leg. Okay, let's go ahead and give that a nice little dab and see how we stand. I'll keep going. Yes, there is ink there. Yay! All right. So I'm going to do mostly the outlines here, and I do have a tricky spot. Did not set myself up proper for grand design work here. So this is the molar, and they tend to have more than just 2 ridges. So I have one or 2 crowns, I should say. I have 1 crown in the back that I think might give me a little bit of trouble, but we'll see. All right, I'm actually going to pull this way. There we go. Not bad, not bad at all. So those round those round shaders, I don't know anybody who watched previous episodes where I was working with those for the past 2 days, like those things, you're getting a tattoo. With a fine liner, you are really like, one, you're on the hook. Every squiggle, every breath that you take the wrong way, that thing it's gonna show. You have a little bit more forgiveness, probably with some larger needles, larger needle groupings, I should say, and especially the round liners. Like you you have a lot more give. Lines seem smoother, but they're also not as crisp as you can see from this heart. I mean, maybe that there's probably a trick. I've done 6 total tattoos to myself. Yeah, it's the same size needle. It's just more of them grouped together. Exactly. Um, and in the configuration of a shader, again, like those points are all pointed straight down, as opposed to pointing into each other, almost like a cone or something, which is what a liner does. But the round shaders that I was using the past couple of days, those were a group of 7, all pointed straight down. And I know that that's still, for a lot of people, like it's nothing. Like it's not that big of a deal. But for me, my first tattoos were done with these tiny little liners. I actually used a 3, I think, on this skull. So it's a 12 uh, needle with a grouping of 3, all pointed in the same direction. And I'm like, man, like this is great. Like this doesn't hurt at all. I'm a tough guy. Well, I mean, maybe I am. I'm not going to dispute that. But I will say that whenever I use those shaders like that, that was I definitely knew I was getting a tattoo. So I really like moving right on back these lovely, tiny, itty bitty little liners here. It just they just feel so much better. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, I have a design design decision that I have to make, how I want to do that back part of the molar, because I definitely want to do it. I think what I'm going to do is actually not connect it. I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's almost like it's floating there or something. Um, and then we're going to do the shading, these hard shading spots here, or not hard, but the more engraved looking shading on these parts. I'm going to make this, already got that one there. All right. I think I covered all of those bits. Now let's stretch back and remember what I said at the beginning of this, how you work from the bottom to the top. And then let's look at what I did and totally realize that I started with the tooth and not the halo. For me, that's the bottom. I'm working myself up. So, you know, I could say, let's chalk it up to inexperience, or I could say it's my leg. And I really wanted to make sure that the tooth was right before I did anything else. All right. So I've drawn in some shading parts with the on the stencil itself, but the stencil you are required to use a ballpoint pen, pretty much something with a rather large tip. So this pen would not work, uh, even though that looks like it's a pretty good size. This would it would just cut through the paper, and you'd get like a really blah kind of look. I don't know. Again, I find myself unprepared to show the ballpoint pen that I do use. Oh well. All right, let's go ahead and get back to this. So, like I said, I drew some shading parts on there, but what I didn't do was draw them with this. So this is a really, like I said, it's a fine line. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to stretch, and I am going to just get rather close here. Just do just something really tight, straight lines. Now, what might not be apparent, especially since this is very small, very far away, is that I am not moving the cartridge back and forth, up and down. I'm picking up after each stroke, so that it looks good, it looks clean. I'm starting at the edge of the shaded area, just working my way down, and trying to not go to where the hard edges are. So, and this guy. All right, dab that. See where we're at. Mm, not too bad, not too shabby. Down to that crown on the back there, and then I'm back over this area where I said we were doing the hard line, and just doing these tiny little circles, fill in that space. Um, See where we are. What? All right. Not too bad. I'll go ahead and clean up this one line out here on the outside. Let's give it a little bit more love. Love to only have to go over these things once. I am not professional. I'll just pretend to be one for the sake of having a good time. Oh yeah. Telling you, it's still a shock to me every time that I do this. It's like it's just so fun. It's just I can't. There's no other way to describe it. All right, now I have this awesome halo. We'll load this back up real quick. Make sure that we have ink in there. Make sure that we're not going to throw ink everywhere. And let's go in the halo here. And the way that I designed the halo is, typical of a ring laying on its side. So we're going to push this ink in a little bit. Oh, that was a mistake. Because now I can't see. And I'm trying to go all in one motion. It's really difficult to do on a long curvy line for somebody who is not used to it, and that would be me. So I feel like something that I should really do is I should get a little bit of advice on how best to keep throwing this ink all over the place. I feel like it's not wasting it. I'm doing something. Definitely going in the skin here. But I feel like it's not the most not the best use of the ink at this particular point. Just to throw it all over my leg like that. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna pull that one more time. That one's an easy one. I'm gonna pull this one. All right, that was an easy one, and we're gonna join those together with a nice black and underneath. I know that doesn't make much sense. Oh, a nice back and underneath. It's a ring laying on its side. See the underneath a little bit. And then, technical term, guys. It's a technical term. Everyone says the back and underneath. And if they don't, they totally should. What's wrong with them? All right. So that looks like a muddy mess right now on the screen. Trust me, it's a muddy mess. But it's my muddy mess. All right. I'm gonna wipe off some of this extra product that we have here, and we're gonna go straight for the monster. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that for just a second. Just 1 second. I am gonna take a little bit of this water here. Do a big fat no. We're gonna spray it on to this paper towel. Let's get a look at this before I sign off on it and say, yeah, we're done with that one for the night. And then after I turn the camera off, go, what was I thinking? Yeah, I'm glad I did that. Some of these lines look really good on the hatching, is what I like to call it. Let's see. I obviously didn't know. Messed up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I'm doing this instead of just going right on to the other one, and then being like, "All right, folks, good night," and then looking at it later and being like, "Ugh, I gotta sterilize everything again." You see this thing? Get out of here, man! You were not invited. Oh, geez. Not sterile. The cat's not sterile. I haven't figured out a way to sterilize him, but I will one day sterilize the cat. All right, whatever. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and line this up. Yeah, you get kind of lost on these. You're right. Like Spade. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, he's been neutered. He's not going to have any no monsters running around besides himself. But yeah, like what you were saying about not being able to tell. I think that that's legit, man. It is very difficult to uh to see past the ink sometimes, past the smears. I guess I don't know. I think that a lot of tattoo artists are probably way more familiar with how the different skin on different parts of the body, um, how it reacts, so they kind of know, um, just through experience and decent training, they can probably tell, like, oh yeah, I didn't hit this proper, I didn't hit that proper, whatever. But yeah, I mean, things are just a muddy mess to me, and I have a really hard time seeing it myself. And I'm right here on it. Like, this is it's my leg. No, said no. I don't know. I'm sure that was visible. I swear, man. Like, no privacy. You can't have nice things. You think you can have nice things? Get a cat. You can't have nice things. Or a teenager. Definitely can't have nice things. So I do have like some favorite tattoos that I've completed on myself. Um, this one, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make that list or not. I think the halo was a little bit, the curvature and everything. I think that was a little ambitious for my skill set, especially trying to show it with any kind of real dimension, not to be confused with dementia. Um, some people might find this channel because, uh, you know, I do have my own history with the military, and I'm seeing my way out, so to speak. So it's not dementia. It's not it. Cooler if it was. You like the match? Yeah, I think it turned out really well. Um, the shading in the smoke was like that was my first time touching a shader, and I was so scared. But I think it turned out really well. And then I do hope to add color to it. All these, well, maybe not all of them. Something great about just a very bold, like black and white work.
Um, but yeah, I do like the match. I think the lines turned out really. That was like my jam, having those,
really not shaky, but organic kind of lines as opposed to something super straight, which sounds like such a cop out. I know, um, but I like that. I like the form of like the splintering wood. Yeah, yeah. The boldness, just the straight. It's like the audacity. Like your skin is a color, and then you're just gonna add black to it and like just bold everything. It's like whenever you're reading a book and you get to a bold part and how important it is and everything. That's how I feel about black and white tattoos. Like they're enough said. Like they don't have to rely on anything. It's not. There's no gimmick, right? It's just straight ink in your skin. All right, so I do have like a line here. Like I think I have like a mole, right? Very small. I have tiny little, you probably can't see them. I have tiny little moles and everything. Had them since a kid. It's not cancer that I know of. But I kind of ran over that and it made like an unintended bump. And then I see where I haven't quite joined up this side of the molar with this root to the crown. You're learning dentistry today. Beauty marks. Yes, I'm covered in beauty marks. I'm the most beautiful, if that's what those are.
So let's go back at it. I mean, I'm not striving for perfection or anything, but I also don't want to look down and be like, I could have done so much more. Could have been so much better. If only I. That's not how you want to go through life, right? All right. Few more lines. Few more here. Get a little extra depth in those spots where it's a little bit, more shaded. And again, something I talk about every time is I'm trying really hard to get over how I would do this with a pencil on my shading, even though it still looks like, you know, there's a good amount of line work, moving the needle from side to side. I still want to lift the needle and not drag it up and down. I don't want to sit there and scratch into the skin and come up with something, you know, nasty looking. It's going to heal really poorly. Um, I really want it to be as clean and intentional and controlled as possible, just like real life. Not at all. But we can pretend we're in a happy spot. We're just doing our own thing. All right. Wipe that away. Give it one last look here. Pretty sure that covers it. It's a tooth in all of its toothy glory. You just draw this tooth all day, man. Thing's this thing's legit. In loving memory of the tooth. 23. Fact check. 31. Are we including wisdom teeth? No. Don't leave me hanging, man. You got your wisdom teeth? Funny because the army, yeah, the army normally makes you get rid of those things. All right, this this little dude, yeah, there's a delay. I'll tell you why there's a delay. I actually figured this out. So there's a delay on the chat because, yeah, exactly. Um, and so that's why there's a delay. Also, that's probably why you have all your teeth. Yeah, I got it. Army probably didn't want to spend money to make your mouth less busy. And why should they? Not their job. So I am just lightly going around this guy's eyes. I think I'm going to make the same mistake I made with the narwhal, where I have all this great, like my reference material is sweet, you know? Like I spent a lot of time on some shading and stuff. This is a tiny needle, and it's just not going to look. It's not going to look the same as what my reference material did. Just not. But what it will do is be this super, to me, super cute, reclining baby dragon. So everything has a story, right? Like a lot of people, well, that's not true. Some people just want, they go in and they're like, I want a cool tattoo. And so they do that. They go into a place, they pick something off the wall, or they have this great idea and they have this super awesome artist who's actually able to translate that exactly how they want it. Um, and all, they're like, yeah, I just like, I don't know, you guys probably have noticed, I like coming up with crazy examples and stuff. I want like a great white whale riding a fisherman as a surfboard and eating shrimp. Rad. Um, but but sometimes people are like, I want I want something I want something that's gonna be meaningful. Like I want something that, my grandfather was a sailor. My grandfather wasn't a sailor, but just example. Grandfather was a sailor, and you know what he did in life really meant a lot to me. And so I want to do this, this mermaid sitting on an anchor. And he really loved martinis, so give her a martini. That's pretty cool. I mean, I think that's something worth paying for, maybe. Um, this is kind of one of those. Whether or not he's watching right now, I have a buddy of mine who I'm kind of a big nerd. I play no, I'm not that big of a nerd, but it's kind of mainstream now, so I can say, I'm kind of mainstream. I play D&D on a regular basis, and one of my buddies, a DM, he's telling me pretty early on, he doesn't have any tattoos, and for a long time he talked about like really wanting to get a tattoo, and he didn't know where, he didn't know of what. He mentioned a dragon, and I was like, I had no idea that whenever I left the military, I would learn to cope with my loss of the military through, you know, tattooing myself. So I never dreamed of picking up a tattoo machine while he was talking about this, but he talked about this grandiose, like wonderful sounding dragon tattoo that he wasn't sure, like, there was some wrapping around of this, that, and the other involved. And anyway, it sounded so cool, and I really wanted to secretly, like, after I started doing this, I was like, I want to be able to tattoo a dragon. I looked at dragons. I can do a matchstick. As you can see, I can do a tooth. What I can't do is a grandiose dragon, but and like I'm memorializing a good friend right now by tattooing this tiny baby dragon on me because I know he would appreciate that. He doesn't want this baby dragon, but he doesn't have to have it. He just, you know, if I show him some leg, he gets to see it. So that's cool, right? All right, let's see. What do dragons have? They have these little bumpy things. Probably spikes on other dragons, but not my dragon. This dude is super cute. And he's kind of laying there, you know, like a cat, but not my demon cat. Go ahead and get this tail in there. I think I already did it because it hurts whenever I do it. Cool. All right. Cheating time again. Got to see where my lines are. Look at that. Let me stretch them out for you there. Isn't he awesome? He's just the cutest thing. I think baby dragons are super cool. As long as they're not running around your house doing things. Oh my gosh, I just thought like, oh, I'm trying to see what I missed. And I'm probably going to wipe away the stencil. This would have been a good time to use one of those round shaders because I have got my work cut out for me. Um, I don't know. You can see there is ink there, uh, and I didn't miss too much. I just luckily I hit just about everything that was in the stencil. Problem is that I don't think I went deep enough on hardly any of this. All right, that's fine. We'll just slow it down a little bit. Put that little foot back in there. Little leg. Yeah. I might actually pull out one of those round shaders and really regret it. But what I would regret more putting all this hard work into this guy and not being able to see what's going on. So go ahead and just go over this one more time, right? And if this doesn't show, then what we'll do is I'll do some of the finer details that I know are still kind of iffy on this. Uh, Not iffy, but that I know I wouldn't be able to hit with one of the shaders. With these, the inner part of the eye where the glossy shine is on cartoons. That's something I definitely wouldn't be able to hit with one of the round shaders too well. I'm gonna stop calling them round shaders. It's too hard to say. Shader. But then that might get confusing because there's curved mags that are used as shaders. I know. Yeah. Well, it's a really thin line, so like I said, I mean, you remember how I talk about this gnarly narwhal? I went over and over and over and over, and I really shouldn't have. Um, just to get some lines in there. Ah, yeah. I'll tell you what, before I do that, I'm gonna draw these in so I don't miss them. Those light parts or whatever. And then, so I don't miss this too, I really want to accentuate the fact that he's laying on his back. So I didn't know what dragon feet, baby dragon feet look like. I imagine they look pretty rad, but I also imagine that they look kind of like a cat. Oh, most def we're getting that that shader out. This is going to be a blast. I wasn't planning on being in that much pain today, but here we go. All right, so maybe here let's. I need to slow down. Is what the problem is, honestly. Oh nope, that's as bright as my light gets. Okay, trying to see. I'm gonna go against what I said earlier. Nope. I'm gonna throw this needle out. We're going deep, boys. No, I just need to. I just need to be able to see what I'm hitting here. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't know what baby dragon feet look like. So I came up with this idea that they were like cat's feet. So my baby dragon has little beans for toes and a little pad on the bottom there. Oh yeah. Not want to do this. Not what I was interested in today. We're gonna do it anyway. Find a show. Find a property. Don't want to show any names. I don't know. Like Twitch is kind of, it's good. They try to protect people, try to protect, you know, what is it? What's it called? Something integrity or something. I don't know. Gosh.
Why was it like that? Oh, I stopped it. Hold on, let me, there we go. I stopped it with the needle protruding. That's all right. So, here we go. We're gonna bust this out, and let's see how far out our needle's being thrown. That's a decent amount. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of about the tip of, a mechanical pencil. This is a round shader. And it's unfortunate. Earlier, I was talking about how you really know that you are getting a tattoo. You are lining with a round shader, or being lined with a round shader. So this thing is much more punchier than that little tiny liner that I was using. I don't know. Maybe I'll get used to it. I'm going slow just to make sure, because I've gone over this like twice with that liner, so I'm not terribly interested in going over it again whenever it comes to shading. This little eyeball over here just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And this big eyeball over here makes me happy. Real nice. I might end up just loving these things. We will see. Kind of. What's the point of a tattoo if you didn't know you got one? I don't have to do it all in one sitting, but these are so small. I like doing them all in one sitting. What you know? You know what I would be doing otherwise? Well, I'd be hanging out with my wife, which is much cooler than this. But I'd also be like, I don't know, drinking wine. This is a little bit more constructive than that, I think. I hope. Not the hanging out with my wife part. That is definitely more constructive. She's pretty rad. You guys saw her last night chasing the cat for me. Super sweet. Definitely appreciated it. I'm like not this is, I think this is the first time I haven't just run my mouth about nothing. And I guess we could talk politics or religion because everyone loves that. True. I could be could be watching. I looked around, I was like, man, I wonder, there's gotta be somebody that's doing this. And you know what? I think that there actually are. I think I found like one person in France
who does this. But, do they do it as cool as me? Probably cooler. All right. So,
Check that out. Let's see. Let's see what's left of my see what's left of my leg. Try not to use too much these paper towels because they are, costly in a time of pandemic. Even though it's over, I mean, you still gotta. That is, while it is much better, I definitely still see some room for improvement. But yeah, that's pretty decent. Since we went ahead and busted out the round the shader here, and we're doing some lining work with it, I'm gonna get a little stylized and make some poor design. I mean, some design decisions, and we're just gonna go for it. All right, here we go. First of all, this belly part right here, yes, needs a little bit more needs a little bit more belly. And this foot right here, oh my gosh, as cute as those little, you can't see them. I know you can't see them. Even though I got this awesome camera, for whatever reason, it just doesn't pick up in the HD as well as I would like. All right, like I said, some design decisions here. I'm gonna move a little bit under the line that I was doing, bring it up to that line. We're just kind of getting a crease here in the belly, and bringing the belly all the way down, which I failed to do on the finer lines. Or maybe I did. Maybe I did it. Maybe I went over it and just completely had to go over it again. Hmm, weird. All right. Some of these lines don't quite join up the way I want them to. Happy little flappy arms, little tiny dragons. I know this isn't like the most exciting thing in the world to watch. Um, at least not like, you know, if you say, "Hey, come on over to my place. We'll have a couple of beers and watch this guy tattoo himself." You're not getting a second date, bro. But if you say, "Hey, how about you come back over to my place, drink a couple of beers, and we'll watch this dude stab himself in the leg with needles for an hour," and you know that doesn't work. Man, you need to find the right one.
You need to find the right one. The one who's down with that. What's funny is, you know, my significant other is in the room right now, and she is not watching me do this. Not in person. She's probably watching the back of my head right now, ready to throw something at it. But I'd say you got to find the right one. I found the right one, and she is not into watching some dude stab himself in the leg a couple hundred times a second. All right, all right, all right, all right. Guess what we're gonna do? Ah, is she a traitor, or am I the traitor? You calling me a traitor? Calling her a traitor. I don't think she's a traitor. She's very she's very supportive. She's holding my demon cat, keeping him from trying to jump up here again and do damage. Bro, this thing is bold. You know what? I might go around the tooth because I'm not in enough pain yet. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that to her face though. All right. Let's do a couple shiny eyes here. Again, fighting that awesome urge to just go in and just shade it all black like I would with a pencil. Sort of. I mean, I guess I could practice like using a pencil in these small concentric circles to fill it in the same way. And then I could stop saying like I would with a pencil. Oh, don't do that like I would with a pencil. Well, well, well. What are we missing here? Oh, it's a shader, not a packer. Yeah, we're gonna make it a packer. We're doing this today. So we're just about ready to wrap this up. Um, you know, I say that as I go back in and start digging down, adding more ink, making more holes, making a bigger mess. We loaded it up way too much. It's coming out the tip there. Shut up. I hate wiping like this. I feel like I'm just being way too uh, nonchalant. Oh man, top hat's starting to run out of ink there. Oh my gosh, just spitting it out. Stop! You don't want to do that. You want to put the ink in the skin, not on top of the skin. You're an asshole. Why are we doing this today? Play games? We play games. All right. So, what I have done is push the needle out a little bit farther from the cartridge because this nice blobby thing that you see here on my leg is not quite done. Oh man, you know what I hate? I hate messy, drippy. Oh, this is so terrible. So terrible. I like everything nice and neat, clean. And the area that I'm currently in, I should say. And probably everywhere else too, but you see that? Like it just threw ink down. So rather than give it any kind of temptation to do that again, man, if y'all are just coming on and seeing me do this, please be patient. It doesn't normally. Yeah, I know I can clean after. I got it. But what I don't want to do is start putting ink all over, everything that's not supposed to have ink on it, like the top of my skin as opposed to, all right, again. Tell you what, so the machine that I'm using, it's a rotary machine. Uh, it is a direct drive rotary machine. This is, from what I understand, um, fairly difficult rotary machine to deal with. The good thing is it has a little bit more of that traditional tattoo machine feel. But considering that I'm not coming from a background of using a traditional coil machine, this means very little to me. It's not a bonus. Not a, not con. It just, that's the selling point. I went in the wrong direction. That's all I'm saying. Um, I do really enjoy it. It is easy to set up, especially for, a beginner like myself. I say beginner like I'm ever gonna not be a beginner. I will probably never progress past this point. I don't plan on being an expert in this field because, well, one, I don't think that any artistic, creative field you can be an expert in. You know, and also, I mean, you never know what the future holds. I guess there's the possibility that this is, something that I could have the opportunity to share with other people, um, through a lot of hard work and going after that state license and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know. You never know. You never know. I can definitely say that growing up, I wanted to be an illustrator. Um, think that you definitely illustrate with this job. All right, let's see where we stand. I think I'm gonna leave the tooth. I like the smooth lines of it. I like that somewhat. Oh no! Oh no! Like I never put any ink in the body. That's why. Let's see. Nah, fam. That is a cute little dragon, dude. You can say all you want, but we're just gonna. Hmm. No, that's fuzzy. But he's not fuzzy. He's super cute. I don't know. Come back to this. So here's what we did today. We did not one, but two new tattoos. I went with two completely different styles. I ended up using two completely different cartridges for a couple of different jobs. What I've learned is that whenever I go for something uh, bigger, uh, on the cuter, not necessarily size wise, but like something that's a little bit more bold and kind of whatever, whether it's a cartoon or anything like that. I think I'd much rather use one of these larger groupings of needles. Whether it's a maybe I'll try a larger shade or larger liner at some point, but yeah, I mean, this guy turned out exactly how it is I drew him. I like it. We'll keep it. This tooth, it's got the subtleties in it that I wanted as far as the shading is concerned. Um, I can still see the crown, the extra crown in the back. I can see the extra root here on the side. Even with these fine lines, it still shows up as dimensional. So can I show the comparison between what it is I drew and what it is that I have on my leg? I really wish that I could get this camera to focus a little bit more so you could see that I do have the designs in there. Um, so we'll go with the monster guy first. So the first time that I drew him, I actually drew him standing up, just so you can see that, and that was cool. But the problem that I'm running into, oh, that actually, there we go. The problem that I was running into was, everything starting to look, I did the match at a kind of an angle, but this guy, this guy, this guy, they all rely on me standing up, right? And whenever I say that, I mean, I got the drips going this way. It looked really weird to have, such a symmetrical drawing of skulls be all, kilter off kilter, like something a little bit more whimsical or something like that. Yeah, I would definitely have no problem putting it to the side. The narwhal's got his uh, narwhal corn tooth, whatever it is that you call it, pointed in a specific area. Like he had to be oriented a certain way. So whenever long story, right? But so I drew him standing up, and then I was like, no, can't do that. I want to be able to flop him like in a direction, right? So, whoop. So that's how I drew him, and you know, there we go. Come on. Yeah. So standing up, he would actually look about like that. Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm losing a little bit of detail on some of these little nubbies. Not a big deal. I mean, they're there, uh, on the tail, and they're actually hollowed out. Like they're lined. I can do some shading. I can do some color, and it's going to turn out pretty good. Um, the tooth, I've actually been trying to draw something, worth putting on, that I wouldn't mind putting on my skin and having like a little story
to tell. One day I'm gonna do my demon cat. I got to figure out a way to clean him up a little bit. And one day I'm gonna put in this guy. I'm actually trying to grow my facial hair to mimic that. But yeah, here's the tooth. Focus, focus. So you can see there's like some subtleties there. Some of the harder lines are there. I made some design decisions on this as well. Going through it, remember it was dumping. Hey, come on, come on. Anyway, it's definitely all the details that I drew are there. There we go. I did go a little bit deeper, quote unquote, deeper on the shadows, just to make sure that they would show up on this area back here, and then a little bit heavier on the line here, so you can still see that dimension of that third root there in the background. So overall, I'm pretty happy. Most of the time, I think a success for me is if somebody goes, uh, you know, is that a tooth? Yes, yes, it is. I don't even have to worry about explaining it to them. I'm just excited that they know it's a tooth. So, um, one of the hardest things, from what I've heard, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm glad you think so. One of the hardest things that I've heard for budding, starting, whatever apprentices, even like some, maybe, I mean, maybe even most tattoo artists, I don't know. One of the hardest things to get down is line work. So that's the main reason that everything is in black. Uh, some shading. This is done in black. It's not gray. It's not a gray mix or anything like that. Um, and the reason that I'm doing this is, if that's a fundamental, then I want to learn how to get that fundamental down. That being said, this is one of the next designs that I'm going to try to do. And it is like, it's probably not going to be the next one. I'm going to wait until I get some liners back in. This is something that I think can benefit from a fine line. And, if it starts getting lost or anything like that, and hard to interpret, then I can bring in, some of these heavier lines. Like I could go, I can grab one of these shaders and or, a bigger liner and make that a little bit more legible. But that's just kind of talking, speaking in the future, not speaking in the future, speaking about the future. Wow, it'd be awesome if I could speak in the future. I probably stop myself from saying a lot of stupid things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for tonight. If anyone, an oracle, yes, that'd be great. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. I was gonna say like in the movie 300, but I do not look anything like the Oracle in the movie 300. That was my body double from when I was in college, but anyway, so yeah, so tomorrow, uh, we might shift back over to this leg depending on how it heals from the from from the ripping off of the tape that I had to do. It's terrible. The ghost itself is actually healing pretty nicely. I don't know. You could probably see this red even with this poor camera angle. Like I don't want to go up any higher, but it's bad. I should just go in for a wax, honestly. But yeah, so the ghost is healing up pretty nice. I'd like to get back over to this leg and start to kind of even him out a little bit, and give this one a rest. He's been through a lot, but yeah, we'll definitely come back tomorrow and do this all over again with something reasonable, in scale. So if I think that you could probably see in the chat, yeah, good old Lefty. Um, you could You could probably see around the chat box there is a suggestion box. If anyone does have any, any suggestions on what it is they'd like to see more of, like to see more or less of, less of, then yeah, go ahead and put it in that suggestion box while on the next episode. Leave a comment on YouTube. I believe that the way that the cool kids do it is they go, like or subscribe, leave a comment, stuff like that. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from everybody again tomorrow. And it's great having you on, Turkey Noodle. Um, I know that you got bigger and better things to do. Uh, so I appreciate you showing up, man. More leg, less hair. Yeah. Are you talking about old lefty, or are you talking about the Oracle, or are you talking about both? Because yeah. All right, guys. Uh, I will see y'all another time. Yeah.